Hi there everybody, my name is Devansh and I'm the lead tutor at Finntutors. You might have already seen my videos, or you must have already seen an explanation or pre-seen by me. So today I'm here to create a new video and speak about the top exam questions or the top issues or top 10 issues, whatever you want to call it, for the May 2023 and August 2023 exam. So this is something that we created after a whole lot of time and effort that we invested, a whole lot of experience that we've gained from doing the past case studies, and obviously delivering a whole lot of passes for our students. So the top exam issues and top exam questions are some which we pick up while going through the pre-scene, and we know that CIMA is asking questions on these. CIMA is bound to ask questions on these. And keeping that in mind, we create our top 10 issues. Now, if you do not already know, Finntutors has received the Global Excellence Pass Rate Award for 2022. You can visit the CIMA Study Hub website. You can go to tuition providers on there and you'll see Finntutors at the very top, with only 5 other tuition providers in the entire world who have this recognition. This only cements our position further and tells everybody out there that the case study material that we are delivering works. It's something that students are benefiting from. It's something that students are finding helpful and eventually are passing their exams. And that is why we have received this Pass Rate Excellence Award for consistently giving pass rates higher than the CIMA's global average. So it's not something that has happened overnight. It's a consistent result pattern that we have showcased, and it has definitely proven to be helpful to students, and that is why we've received this recognition. So you may be wondering now, how do we accumulate these topics? What are these? How do you figure out that these are the most important ones? Firstly, we are pre-scene experts. We have gone through the pre-scene very, very, very many times, very much in advance of you having it. We have gone through it with a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of care, and we pick the underlying theme of the pre-scene suggestions. So when we read a line, or when we read when we read something which actually takes back to the E3, P3 and F3 syllabus, we identify it, obviously because of experience, and then we present it to our students as an important topic. We focus on the pre-scene and different perspectives used to develop a SWOT analysis. So we develop a very detailed SWOT analysis of the company to understand what are the opportunities for the company, and then what questions can come about relating to those opportunities. What are the threats for my company? What threats can come about relating to that particular situation? We do all of that. We do the background work. We do the hard work so that you simply have to follow the material that we curate. We use our experience and expertise to understand exam favorite topics. Now, since a long time, obviously, we identify also the topics that often come up in the exam, which also have a possibility and probability to come up again. We identify them because of experience, and then we make you practice on that. Very important, I will say the most important game changer here is our 25 mock questions. No other tuition provider in the entire world does this much practice. There are a lot of tuition providers that do 20 topics, 50 topics, but we do 25 questions, exactly exam styled, mock questions related to the pre-scene, and each question can have 2 topics, 2 tasks, 3 tasks, 4 tasks. So you are, roughly and in an estimated number, you're going to do 70 topics with us, which is enough practice if you learn and understand from our markings and from our directions. And obviously, we are CIMA registered tuition providers, enhanced by the Global Pass Rate Excellence Award that we have now received. So at the end of the day, if my course is followed, you are bound to do well. Now to important area 1, or topic number 1, which I want to discuss. Now, because this is topic number 1, please don't think that this is the most important topic and this is definitely going to come up in the exam. These topics are not arranged chronologically. All the topics that we have identified in our 25 questions in our mock questions are important, have a chance of coming up in the exam, and that is why we have identified them. Don't worry, we have different scenarios that we will test you on in our 25 questions, which is exactly like the exam, which portrays the exam, and these important topics which we have identified will automatically be tested as part of the mock questions that students will be doing if they choose to sign up with us. So first topic we are discussing is scenario planning. This is part of your core area B, which means it's part of your blueprint area B. It is something which CIMA has identified as important as well. And while going through the Daistruk pre-scene, we identified these areas as something that can be tested on, this area as something that has been tested on in the past, and we really thought that it's a good question type that can come up in the exam, and hence we took it up. So the Daistruk pre-scene was one that we went through, and it was really popping out that a scenario planning situation can come up. So what type of questions around scenario planning can we expect? Firstly, analysis of a new investment or project and how it would affect our business. So we are a 3PL logistics provider, so third-party logistics provider. What if we need to make an investment in big data? How would it affect our business? For example, it's a scenario, right? So how would you deal with this scenario? How is it useful for our business? That's a question that can come up. Same way, they can give you 2 to 3 different scenarios. We're looking at option 1, option 2, option 3. According to you, which is the best for my business? Also, they can ask you whether scenario planning could be used to evaluate potential synergies that could arise with a new project. So let's say we are starting a new project of implementing, let's say, a data management system. Or we are trying to upgrade our existing data management system. If we acquire another company, XYZ, which is a data company, what will be the potential synergies for Daistruk? Please explain. This is something that can definitely come up, and it's based on the scenario creation structure. That is why we've brought it up. The advantages of scenario planning, the disadvantages of scenario planning are something that can, really be asked. So scenario planning is an entire part of your E3 syllabus. So over here, you should first know what is scenario planning, how scenario planning is used, the steps of scenario planning, and its advantages. These are things that you must be able to answer in your own words. Now think about the pre-scene company Daistruk over here, and imagine how could scenario planning be used by visualizing different scenarios. Now, obviously, I'm telling you that scenario planning is important, and I'm giving you different question types that can come up. I will be also testing you on scenario planning in an exactly exam-styled environment, in an exactly exam-styled system, in an exactly exam-styled mock question, which is timed, which is exactly like the exam, and which you will receive professional feedback on. So just imagine, it's such a foolproof way of learning. We identify the important topic for you. That's only step 1. Then we'll do our whole pre-scene analysis with you, and then step 3, we'll make you write a question on this. So that if anything in the exam were to come up from the scenario planning umbrella, you are ready. You are ready to attack it. You are ready to learn from it. You are ready to, write a good answer because you've done that practice. It's such a good place to be in terms of your preparation. That is why important topics, yes, we highlight them in our pre-scene. We know that these are important topics, but they are tested on when you go to our mock questions. So we'll tell you these are important areas, then it's your job to revise them, then it's your job to go through them. Next topic we have is raising capital, need for funds. Part C of our core areas. So your blueprint area C. Daistruk is a third-party logistics provider. It has huge investments in logistics systems. It has huge investment in warehouses, in machines, in robots, picking up, everything from the warehouses, sorting equipment, delivery equipment. So the need for funds is always going to keep growing, and the need for funds is going to be ever present. Logistics is not a low capital, I will say, industry or a process. It's something that needs funds. It needs money. So raising capital is a very clear exam scenario which we can see. And there can be different ways they can ask this to you. So for example, growth using debt or equity. So you will first have to understand the business's current potential. When you study with us in our pre-scene analysis, in our financial analysis of the pre-scene, we'll tell you what our current ROCE is, what our current ROE is, what our gearing ratio is. And after knowing that, for Daistruk, you will be able to suggest whether our company should use debt finance or equity finance. They can also tell you that we want to buy another company. How will we finance this acquisition? You could be asked to look at different alternative of raising finance. So short-term finance, long-term finance can be asked. Because we are talking about finance, the dividend policy comes into the picture. So again, when we are going through the pre-scene, we'll tell you what the dividend policy is of our company. What is the current dividend policy? What if the dividend policy were to change? What if we change the dividend policy? So the different dividend policies is also something that you will have to know. Also, what will happen if the share price goes up? What will happen if the share price goes down? You need to know the beta factor of your company and its analysis, which we have again provided in my detailed pre-scene analysis. So we explain the nature of the company to you, we explain the type of questions that can come up, and all of this is clearly part of your F3 syllabus. This is very important, and in one of the three variants, 100% something or the other about raising capital will come up, and these are scenarios which are often asked. So guess what? If you've done your revision, if you know these are important, and then you've written mock questions on these with a registered tuition provider like us, who's giving you feedback, who's telling you where you went wrong, who's showing you model answers, who's showing you suggested answers, where is the chance of going wrong? That is our study process, a foolproof study process, so you don't make errors and mistakes. Third topic, we talk about corporate governance, part of your core area E and majorly spoken about in the P3 syllabus. Also something that is guaranteed to come up some way, somehow in one of the three variants. So the corporate governance topics from P3 are quite important. Most important will be to know the corporate governance principles. The UK Corporate Governance Code, something that you will have to know because it is valid for listed companies, and Daistruk is a listed company, so the rules and regulations are good practice, and sometimes they will have to be followed, and they'll ask you questions around that. So please make sure you've revised that. Also, often issues come up where an extra director is added to the board. Now what happens if an extra director is added? There will be an imbalance in executives and non-executive directors. Is it allowed as per the corporate governance code? You will be asked to comment on that. Same way, they can ask you anything related to the audit, remuneration, nomination, risk committee, all of which has 1111 chapter in P3. So your P3 area on corporate governance is very, very testable. It's something that is often tested. So please make sure that you revise the same. So when you start your studies with us, you will be incorporated into our study pattern first. Then we give you our study notes. Then we introduce the pre-scene for you. Then we start mock writing for you. And mock writing also, we break it down. It's set wise. It's not 3 questions, 3 hours directly first exam that you take. That's not our style. We'll give you 1 question, 1 hour. Correct your mistakes. Show you the way. 2 questions, 2 hours. Then 3 questions, 3 hours is also what we'll be practicing, but gradually we'll get you there. Help you build your confidence. That's how students learn. That's how we get results. That's how students pass their exams. So in the link, with all of this to link in, just to make sure that you understand the processes that we've identified the topics. We'll test you on those topics through our mock questions. We'll check those mock questions for you personally, and then we'll show you areas of improvement. Thank you for being here. So with that, we have come to the end of this quick discussion, just to showcase to you that we have identified all the topics which we feel are testable and which we feel can come up in the exam. All of these topics, we create mock questions on them which are exactly like the exam. And then we test you on those exam questions. We test you on those exam styled questions which are created by us, to make sure that you can practice, that you can type, that you can write, and you can get them corrected by us professionally, by my marking team, so that you can also benefit from the same.